Father, it's been 27 years, 8 months, and 7 days since my last confession. And I've done a few things in that time. I've ordered a do-it-yourself voodoo kit to hurt our former chairman. I'm the manager of a local football club here, Nuneaton Bar. You may have heard of us. I've done some animal sacrifices. I ordered a subscription animal sacrifice service from this guy Lama who lives in the Northern Marianas, and didn't really even work. But taking advice from people on YouTube, I mean, lots of times. But that's not really why I'm here. I'm here because I was wondering if I could ask you guys a favor. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry about that. I've forgotten some of the rules. It's been a while. And so whenever we have a televised match, football club match, we can't win. And this person, Dragon, ate our names. She's really cool. I think she lives in Europe someplace. She suggested that we go see a cleric. And that made me think that maybe we've got kind of an evil spirit from our former chairman in the clubhouse or something like that. And that we could have you guys come out and do an exorcism or something like that. And we're also trying to sign a new central midfielder, and they're kind of expensive. And so I'm wondering if we could get a discount. Father, hello? Hello everybody, welcome to Devotion to Promotion. My name is Zilla Blitz, and as we start out, likes are always greatly appreciated, and if you do like what you see, please consider subscribing either now or at the end of the video. But let's jump right in. This is Season 8, Episode 0, and what we're trying to do with this save is take Nuneaton from the very bottom of English football all the way to the top. If you're new to the series, I'm going to do kind of a very brief overview of what's happened so far, kind of previously on Devotion to Promotion type of thing. So we started out in the Vanarama National League North, and here is a little bit of job history to help out. So we started in the Vanarama National League North. In our first season, we just missed the playoffs. Second season started a 4-season run of promotions for us, so we really got on a roll. And in our kind of one of the things that was apparent when we started out in the Vanarama National League North, we had a pretty good amount of money compared to the teams relative to us in the division, so that in the league. So that really helped us jump up, I think, especially those second and third years. But 4 consecutive promotions with 2 championships, an automatic promotion, and then squeaking in out of Sky Bet League 2 to Sky Bet League 1 through a playoff victory. We then reached the championship in our 6th season, and this is where the fun began, because we really don't have any money, and that's kind of the problem that we're facing right now, is a lack of money and a lack of income. We did manage to get 12th in our first season, and then last season we got 9th, missing the playoffs by a mere 4 points. But the problem we're facing, if we look at a lot of what's going on, is that our training facilities are still only 2 stars. Our youth facilities are still only 2 stars. Our stadium capacity is only 6,364. And if we look at some of other facilities, we have basic data analysis facilities, fairly basic youth recruitment. We've never had a player come through our youth academy that has played any time for our senior club yet, despite this being our 8th year. So one of our big challenges now is a structural challenge as we try to get good enough to reach the Premier League, is to upgrade our facilities. Now that we've got a little bit more money, upgrade our facilities, our youth facilities. We're getting a new stadium built that should be ready in September of this year. So sitting in this kind of big thing is, how can we be better on the pitches? How can we also be better off the pitch? And so that's kind of where we are as we start our 8th season. We still have the lowest wage budget in the league by a significant margin. So really competing with limited resources and having to kind of hunt around and find players that we can get. But having said that, it is July 8th, 2027. The season starts in less than a month. Usually this episode has me sitting here saying, we don't have any players. We're totally screwed. I can't find any players. I don't see how we're going to be able to do this. And then over the course of the next month, we kind of patch together some kind of a roster, and things seem to work out relatively okay. This time, however, I think this is probably the most stable I feel we are going into a new season. we've made some changes and stuff, but I think we really only need 2 positions to add. And we have the money to do so now. So let's take a look and dig in and kind of what's gone on in the past month since the end of our season episode, our season wrap episode before. Quite a few players have come and gone, and I'm pretty excited about what we've been able to do. But I should also mention that there was another takeover rumor that lasted for about 2-3 weeks, and then it went away again. So I'm not quite sure if Chairman Andy has got both feet into this club and is really kind of all that committed to making this work, because I get a sense those are going to come and go, and maybe we're going to have a takeover where it actually sticks. So we could face our second board takeover in the matter of 2 or 3 years. We'll see more as that goes on. Right now, he's back to loving the club, and we had that happen with our first chairman, Chairman Jimmy. So it's hard to say what's going to happen here. I should also say that our training facilities will be completed pretty soon in October. The stadium, which is delayed, is still on track to being done at the end of September, which will be really good. Our club value, mysteriously, was at $60 million a little while ago, and it's dropped to $36 million. I don't know why. Kind of confused on that, because we have upgraded some things. And if we look at some other things that are gone on in club vision here, the expectations for this year so far have stayed at mid-table. So pretty happy about that. The players are on board with that. Chairman Andy's on board with that. So that's kind of our target. And I think that's, hopefully that's what we can get, or a little bit better this year. The build new stadium, it says completed, but it's lying to us. It's still not done. There were delays. I think FM Llama noticed that he thought that was Chairman Andy out actually running the backhoe there in our previous episode introduction. And every time I've only been out there, I've only seen one person working on the stadium. So it wouldn't surprise me if Chairman Andy is the only one doing the work, because he is kind of cheap like that. I mean, we don't have a lot of money, so you got to kind of give it to the guy, but that might be why it's taken a little bit longer. But hopefully it'll be done by the end of September, and we can move into our new stadium, because we need that extra revenue. We are increasing. The board did come to me and ask if we wanted to increase our youth level, which is so that we're doing that. And I did say, hey, let's improve the data analysis facilities again. So we're going to get another data analysis hardware upgrade coming soon. That only takes about 2 weeks, so can't be that much. Training facilities are almost done, and of course they did nix the youth facilities upgrade, so we don't have that coming. But that's kind of our structural stuff, so a lot of improvements on the horizon. Really excited about the new training facilities, and of course the new stadium, which we'll have to name something really cool. And so that's kind of where we sit in there. Our prediction, however, so if we go back to home and go back to the league table, it started out, I think, as like 13th, 14th about a month ago before I started screwing around with things. And now the media prediction, after all my hard work over the past month, has seen us drop to 17th. And I think there's a reason for that, but I'm okay with it. So here's what we've done. So let's take a look at our transfers. So if we look at transfer history, it's kind of exciting times here. Going out, I did sell Luis Fiorini and got $4 million for him, a little bit more, maybe $4.5 million. He was, on paper, he's a really good midfielder, but his best role is an attacking midfielder. We just couldn't get what I thought was the value for his salary out of him, because we were paying him over £8,000 a week, which is a ton for our club. He was one of the highest top 5 players on the club. And we were getting kind of, if we look at his stats, we were getting like 6.83, 7 the year before, but only at 22 matches. I mean, that's pretty good, but not for one of the highest earners on the club. For every good match he'd have, he'd kind of drop a bomb in another match and just really kind of stink up the place. And I don't know if it was his bravery, his concentration or something, but something just wasn't clicking with our organization. So I thought, let's cut bait there. And then I also moved along Ryan Gauld, who another player on paper looks really good, but was costing us over £8,000 a week. I was able to get close to $1 million for him and move him on. And then a couple of other players, Shane Flynn, another player who just on paper looks okay, wasn't doing all that well, and had a really good season at an inverted winger for half a season for us. But then this year I put him back out there and he just couldn't do anything. So it just wasn't worth it. Said, that's enough of that. And then Eddie Nahore, who was one of our geriatric midfielders that we signed in the middle of last season, just wasn't getting a lot of playing time, 33 years old. So I said, let's get what we can for him. The end result of all that is that now we have $5.25 million in income. And that allowed us to do a couple of cool things. One is we actually bought a player for more than £40,000. We'll get to that in a second. But the main uptake of that is we now have almost £8 million in the bank, which is really good because we lost about $4 million over the course of last year. And I want to end this season, upcoming season, with enough money so we can upgrade our youth facilities and our training facilities so that Chairman Andy doesn't cancel one of them because we don't have enough money. So really excited about that. And then if we think about the income coming in with the new stadium, it's getting kind of interesting now. So anyway, but with all that money, that created some problems because we still needed some new players. But here's what we did. We got Zemryaski, who we mentioned last time, as our new left back, one of our 2 new left backs. Pretty excited about him. He is now our highest wage earner on the team at £7,750, which is reasonably pretty cheap there. These 3 of these 4 players are kind of future picks. We won't look at them, but Dean Campbell is a new midfielder for us. I kind of like this guy because he's got good defensive abilities, kind of good passing, just all around pretty neutral, and comes in at a very reasonable £3,300 per week. So I think he can replace Ryan Gauld and kind of give us the same levels of performance, except we're saving £5,000 a week with that. So hopeful there with him. Then this is a guy we bought. So we bought this guy from Malaga in Spain, paid £750,000 for him, but check it out. Striker, finishing a 16, determination a 16, composure a 14, technique a 13, agility a 14, acceleration 17, pace 13, decisions, all the numbers that you look in an advanced forward are pretty good here. We got him for a very reasonable £2,600 a week that goes up to as much as $4,000, depends if he plays a lot of matches or not. 19 years old, and we've signed him for 3 years. So this is kind of a big day. This is like the first time we've ever spent money on a player. I mean, £750,000 is a lot for us, but I just saw this guy and I said, he's worth the risk. Now, there is one consideration. Okay, it's not all good, right? When we signed him, one of our physios said we might be a little bit concerned about he's got some kind of chronic problem with pulled ankle ligaments because he's had a couple of injuries and twisted ankles and stuff like that. So fingers crossed that his ankle doesn't fall off. But other than that, I think he's a perfect signing. So maybe not a good signing. Time will tell. Be interesting to see how the saga of Salami Kaya plays out here. But I think he can get playing time for us right away, and that gives us 3 pretty good strikers up top. And then I was really happy also, Leo Quinier, goalkeeper that we got on loan from Chelsea last year. Really good goalkeeper. Didn't play him much because I played Cardinale, but he was kind of very nice to have as a backup. I think we can play him a lot. Didn't want to come to us on loan. I kept asking like every 3 or 4 days. I'd say, do you want to come on loan? Do you want to come on loan? Chelsea would say yes, but he would say no. Likewise, the same situation with Ludovic Fontaine. Was a really good center back for us. Didn't want to come on loan. Finally, once the new year turned around, they both said yes, so we got him back. So that means we have pretty much the bulk of our team back from last year. I mean, if we look at our squad, pretty much what we had last year, we got back. Actually, let's go to tactics might be the way to do it. So this is kind of what we had last year. And the good thing about it now is, right, so we can play a starting 11 without relying on any loans. So one of the things that we've done is to kind of really reduce our reliance on loan players, because we signed this guy Quirk as well, who was also on loan for us. 19 years old. We mentioned this in the last episode. Really good numbers. Played a lot for us last year and got over a 7 rating. So we own him now. He's with us rather than having on loan. So we can put out a starting 11 that doesn't rely on loans, which is really cool for us, because the first year we were in the championship, to get a starting 11 that was any good, I had to have about five players out on loan. We're always maxing out our starters out on loan. Now we can put a pretty decent starting 11 out, and we don't have anybody on loan. We'll still need loans and stuff like that, of course, and some of our better players will be loaned, but we're reducing that reliance on them, which is really good. And to go with that as well, here's our budget. I've moved most of the money that we had in the transfer budget into the wage budget. We can go up to £159,000. We're currently only spending £109,000. So we're £20,000 lighter than we were per week than we were at the end of last year. That's a good thing, because we're not spending as much money, and comparably, I think we're pretty similar to where we were last year. So we have £50,000 a week to spend on players coming up, which is kind of cool. So I'm excited about that. What do we still have to do? So if you ask, because we're never ready at this point in time. I can't believe that we really are almost ready. We need a left winger. because the good left winger that we had last year, who was on loan, has signed somewhere in the MLS and he's gone. We also need to replace probably one more central midfielder. We need another midfielder roughly at the level of Fiorini to try to improve our midfield, because we're not good enough there and we're not good enough on the left wing. But I like what we got on paper every place else, and feel like with about a month to go in the season, we're almost ready to go. And we have money that we can still increase it. So really feel like we're in a really good place right now. Also, we're kind of getting some players done on homegrown status, which is really good. So we should have Quirk here with, at the end of next season, be a homegrown club, so we can get rid of some of these players that aren't very good that we're holding around, because there's the rule that you have to have one player that's a homegrown club player on the roster every game. So we have a number of players. We brought in some young players to look at and stuff like that. Those are kind of details that we don't really need to dig into in this episode. But there's the kind of big picture. The things I want to dig into this year a little bit, and I'd be curious, I'd love to, if you have advice or thoughts or ideas on what to do here. One of the things that I've been looking at and spending more time with is the idea of development. I haven't done too much with it, as though I probably should have, discussing new traits and designing, building up new traits. So I'm trying to get most players with these new traits and things like that, like movement training, and try to figure out ones that are good. And it's an area I haven't really dug into very much, and kind of finding that that's kind of, I think that's going to be something good to learn more about this season as we go forward. The other thing that I wanted to ask people was this right here, the orange mark, the consistency mark. For some players it shows up at negative, right? And for some players it shows up as positive, and some players don't have it. And the idea is that if you have an orange or red mark for consistency, it means you're going to be inconsistent. The thing is, I think some of our players are developing this. Likewise, I think some of our players, let's go, who is it? Henry, I think, is a good one for us. Rico Henry has green for consistency and green for important matches. But I think some of our players are also developing an orange and red characteristic for important matches as well. Maybe people know this already, and maybe you're wondering how I don't know this, having played as much as I've played now. But I'm guessing, my question is, does this come up through the mentoring and stuff? So if we go training and mentoring, does it matter what group you're in? I mean, are those traits that players pick up from their mentoring group? If so, how do I fix it now that like half the team is inconsistent and another half of the team doesn't like big matches? And maybe it's kind of a thing where like you're totally screwed and you're just going to have this forever. But I've tried to arrange these groups now a little bit with players that have influence. So this is basically, if you're not familiar with the screen or thing, this is the mentoring place where you put players in clusters or groups, and they influence each other and how they develop and stuff, especially with things like determination and things, and these kind of the cognitive traits that a player would have. So over here, I've tried to put players with significant and at least average influence together that have good traits, like Rico Henry is down here. He has average influence, but he also has both the high green for consistency and for important matches. So I've got him in a group with players with light influence that I'd like to fix that. So for example, Salami Kaya, I would like him to get the good one and stuff like that. So I guess my basic question, I'm kind of being wordy here, but is that how you fix it? Am I thinking right? Or is that like completely just not even grounded in reality, and those traits don't have anything to do with mentoring groups? Your help is greatly appreciated, as always. And yes, no, okay, I won't say it. Let's stop there. I was going to say I can go to confession again after taking your advice, but that's probably, just a side joke. That's best said only once. So there you have it. That's kind of season 8, episode 0. We are, if we could get mid-table and sort out some of the structural stuff again, I'm kind of excited about this and kind of excited about some of our new players. I'm looking forward to seeing Salami Kaya play and some of these things. But anyway, there you have it. We will be back in 2 more days to do our season opening match. And I believe we are going up. Let's see what our schedule looks like here. Whoops, what am I doing? Click on date, sorry. We start off the season against Ipswich Town, who finished mid-table last year, and we will be on the road to them. So a good challenge for our opening episode, and I'm hopeful that we can win more than one match on YouTube this year too, because goodness knows it's been like one win in our last 11 or 12 episodes on YouTube. So I'm hoping that our cleric can help us out with that, those services that we hopefully will be able to sign up for. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you have a great day. As always, if you've enjoyed the episode, please consider giving a thumbs up. And if you're new, please consider subscribing. We'll see you in a couple days when we come back from the season for the season opener. In the meantime, stay safe, have a great day, and thank you again, as always, for your amazing support. Take care.